As-salamu Aleikum and welcome back to Deen and Chai. Hope you're all doing well, inshallah. Today we are going to take a quick dive into Surah Az-Zalzalah. I finished my coffee before starting the video, so I grabbed another drink and iced tea. So if you want to grab a beverage and get comfortable, and let's walk through Surah Az-Zalzalah, inshallah. I often get questions about the sources, so this is the main source, Tafsir Ibn Kathir. If you're interested in getting it, you can get it in Arabic or you can get the translation in English. It is a bit big. I mean, this is volume 10, and there's 10 books. Like, this is the last volume, but there's 10 books that are the same size as this. So it's a pretty big book collection. But if you're looking for something simpler, I like this option, the Study Quran. It's in English and it's just one book. So this one book covers the whole Quran. So it's a much less detailed option than the Tafsir Ibn Kathir option. And so it's summarized, but I feel like it gives enough detail that you get the gist of the surah. So if you're interested in that, this is a good option too. Okay, so we're going to jump into Surah Az-Zalzalah. It is a heavy surah. The imagery in the surah is strong. It discusses the final day, us being judged, so it is a pretty heavy surah, but a really important reminder and beneficial reminder, inshallah. So we're going to go verse by verse, inshallah, and look at each verse and talk about it a little bit, inshallah. So starting off with the first verse. The first verse says, إِذَا زُلْزِلَتِ الْأَرْضُ زِلْزَالَهَا, when the earth will be trembled with its quake. Now when we say إِذَا at the beginning of the surah, إِذَا is when, translated as when, but it's something that is in the future, but it's also something certain. So Allah is telling us that certainly this day is coming, this is going to happen certainly. The earth is going to quake, the earth is going to tremble. So the earth is going to quake and quake. And on top of that, he tells us not just that the earth will quake, but he says the earth will quake its quake. Now he could have just said when the earth quakes, right? Or when the earth will quake, but he said when the earth quakes, its quake. Now what is the benefit? What is the benefit of saying zilzalaha, its quake? There's several things that we need to take in here. The first thing is that the earth will be quaking. It's not like anything we have ever seen before. It's going to be a quake that we have never seen or experienced. Nowadays, when the earth experiences earthquakes, it's very localized. It's a city or a country that's impacted, but not the whole entire earth. So this tells us that the entire earth is going to be quaking. The whole earth will be affected. There's not going to be a part of the earth that's not impacted. So the whole earth is going to be violently shaking. The second thing we understand from this ayah is that we understand that this will be the final quake. Everything is leading up to the quake. This final quake, the earth's quake, will be the final quake, a major trembling, and this is what everything is leading up to. And we also understand from it that the earth has been destined to quake. It will quake its quake. It has been destined to quake. We might think that the earth was created for us to live on, to enjoy, but this verse implies that the earth was created for this final destiny. Its final fate is this quake. So finally on this day that comes, it will finally quake its quake. And then we go on to the second verse that says, وَأَخْرَجَتِ الْأَرْضُ أَثْقَالَهَا, and the earth will bring forth its burdens. So the earth will release all its burdens, everything in it, all generations from the beginning of time until that day, everything will be released. And also all the treasures and everything that is hidden in the earth, everything will be extracted and brought forth and released out of the earth. It will release everything out of it. And then وَقَالَ الْإِنسَانُ مَا لَهَا, and man will say what has happened to it, or what is the matter with it. The person or the individual will say what is going on. So each one of us is going to be saying what is going on. It's going to be such a shock, something that we have never seen before. So we are going to be questioning what is happening right now. And notice that the verse also says وَقَالَ الْإِنسَانُ مَا لَهَا, that the individual or the person will say what is going on, reminding us that on this day we will each be individuals alone. We will be alone. Nobody else can come and help us. We will be alone. So this is a reminder in the phrasing of this verse that we will be alone on this day. So let's put ourselves in this situation. Put yourself in this verse. On this day you will be alone, and everything will be shaking violently and tremendously around you. You won't have any idea what is going on. Each one of us should put ourselves in this position and remind ourselves that this day is coming. We will be in this position, in this verse, wondering what is going on around us. So let's prepare before this day comes, inshallah. And the next verse says, يَوْمَئِذٍ تُحَدِّثُ أَخْبَارَهَا. On that day, the earth will declare its information. Now, some scholars say that this literally will mean that the earth will testify against us. The earth will say, this person did this and this on this day over there in that location, and that person did this and this over there in that location. So the earth will be testifying what we did when we were on it, when we were on the earth. It will testify what we did on it. And the next verse says, بِأَنَّ رَبَّكَ أَوْحَى لَهَا, because its Lord will inspire it to do so, its Lord will command it to do so. So Allah will command it to speak, and therefore it will speak and testify against each one of us. And the next verse says, يَوْمَئِذٍ يَصْدُرُ النَّاسُ أَشْتَاتًا لِيُرَوْا أَعْمَالَهُم. That day mankind will proceed in scattered groups to be shown their deeds. Now, يَوْمَئِذٍ يَصْدُر, on this day, يَصْدُر, in Arabic, this word yastur means to return. You have gone somewhere and now you are returning. So we are returning and we are going to be judged. And we will be in scattered groups. So we will be judged and then we will be in scattered groups, because some of us, our deeds will be displayed basically to each one of us. And some of us are going to be happy. Some of us are going to be miserable. Some of us are going to be glowing and beaming. Some of us are not. So we are going to be in different scattered groups, in different situations. Whether this means that it's basically the people who did good and the people who didn't, believers and disbelievers, or it means groups within those groups and within those groups. Everybody will be in different groups at different levels with different people. So we will all be shown our deeds. And then we end with, we'll put these two verses together because they're very similar. فَمَنْ يَعْمَلْ مِثْقَالَ ذَرَّةٍ خَيْرًا يَرَهُ وَمَنْ يَعْمَلْ مِثْقَالَ ذَرَّةٍ شَرًّا يَرَهُ. So whoever does any good act, even to the weight of a particle, will see it, and whoever does evil, even to the weight of a particle, will see it. So we are reminded now that every single little thing, to the smallest speck, the smallest particle, we will see on this day, whether it is good or whether it is bad. So a reminder to us not to underestimate either one of them, not to think that a little thing doesn't matter, or a little good deed that we might be able to do doesn't matter, is insignificant. Nothing to Allah is insignificant. Every single little thing that we might not even remember, or other people might not notice, or might just be forgotten, the tiniest speck of anything, Allah will recognize it on this day. So find comfort in every little thing that you do, that Allah is going to recognize it. On the flip side, every little thing, every little speck that you do that is not good, it will be recognized on this day. So again, do not underestimate the impact of that small little thing. Don't disregard that negative thing that you are doing and say, oh, it's just a small thing, I'm just going to keep doing this, or I'm going to do this and that, and think that it's the tiniest thing and it will be forgotten. Because again, Allah recognizes every little thing that you do, and on this day everything will be brought forth. So to work hard to do even the smallest of good, and to work hard to stay away from even the smallest of bad, inshaAllah. So he told us earlier in the verse that the earth will let out all its burdens and all its weights, all its heavy weights that the earth has been burdened with, it will be released. And at the end of the surah, we are reminded that even the smallest weight, the smallest particle that we have done, it will be rewarded, or it will be held against us. But we will be accountable for those, inshaAllah. So that's it for Surah Az-Zalzalah. It is a heavy surah, a heavy imagery, and a reminder of this day that is coming. And inshallah, a reminder to us when you read this surah to remember this day, to put ourselves in the situation of that individual. Reminder to us, inshallah, to work towards good, to stay away from bad, and to remember that every little speck of good that we do, inshallah, we will be rewarded for. So keep doing good, keep doing the smallest of good, keep being consistent about it, inshallah, and remember that the reward is with Allah. You might not see the reward in this world. Maybe you do things and it goes unnoticed. You do things for others and people don't notice it, or whatever it is, but Allah notices every little speck of good that you are doing. So do it for His sake, inshallah, and the reward with Him is going to be unlike any reward we have ever seen, inshallah. So let's work towards that. I hope you benefited from this surah. I hope it gave you a deeper understanding of this surah, inshallah. And until next time, As-salamu Aleikum.